For everyone that came out, obviously this is Werth Institute and Business Management Studies meeting for today. So thank you, we appreciate it. If you didn't get any pizza or any drinks, there's still some in the back. We have Freidman, Director of Strategy and Operations at 3x3 Insights. Essentially they do like deep data insights for independent liquor retailers. Noah will talk all about it and he's going to hopefully be able to help you as you move forward, either with an internship or in your professional career, start to think more critically and take advantage of opportunities that you might not think you'd be able to take advantage of otherwise. So without further ado, give it away to Noah.
Thanks, brother. I haven't even started yet, you don't have to clap yet. Like, I could suck right now. You guys are all here obviously because there's some level of ambition that you have, and the fact that you're here tells me that you're interested in business, you're interested in going above and beyond. It's 7:30 on a Tuesday night. You're here to listen to me talk, and that's an honor, but that tells me that you care about your futures, you care about your careers, and you care about going above and beyond. I'm here to tell you that I think in history, if we think about historically, there's never been a better time to be able to go above and beyond in the business world in whatever field you choose to pursue. And so over the next 20, 30 minutes while I give this little speech and we have some Q&A, I want to try and show you guys some of the things that I've learned in my career that have proved to me that it's very, very much possible to go above and beyond in whatever you want to do. And when I say above and beyond, I'm not just talking about excelling a little bit. I'm talking about setting goals that you want to achieve in the world of business and whatever it is that you do, and not letting anything having to do with your age restrict you from getting there. That's really been my thesis. My entire career, my entire life. When I was in school, it was the same thing. I was the kid sitting here listening to people like me talk and saying, what do I have to do to get to that place where I can get that internship, I can work with those incredible people, I can become like the incredible alumni of UConn and just get there. I can win, I can do that thing. All I wanted to do was that. So let me tell you a little bit about me. Like Ben said, I work at Loeb NYC. Loeb is a private equity firm and venture capital investor. We invest in companies, we buy companies, we build companies, seed stage all the way through to growth capital. So it's a little bit of a hybrid role because a little bit of a hybrid model. We don't have LPs, it's private money. And so we invest money into companies that we think have the potential to be big billion-dollar businesses. I've been working for Michael Loeb of Loeb NYC since I was in college, and right now I currently run day-to-day strategy and operations for one of our portfolio companies called 3x3 Insights. So right-hand man to the CEO, overseeing all day-to-day business operations, strategy, etc., making sure the trains run on time. It's one of Loeb's biggest technology investments. I'm also 23 years old, and being 23 and in a role like this, which has a lot of responsibility, a lot of autonomy, has given me, you could say, a unique perspective. The guys in this room who know me know a little bit about what that unique perspective is, but the truth is, I'm 23, I graduated college in 2017, so just over a year ago. And while I was in college, I was working for Michael Loeb, getting to do some awesome things. And then the second I graduated, I started to do even bigger things within the world of venture capital and businesses. And so I'm 23, but 3x3's got about 20 people working it. I'm the youngest person in the, no, we just hired Abby, who's 22. So I'm the second youngest person in the company. Everybody who reports to me is older than me. Many of the people are twice as old as me. I've hired people, I've fired a lot of people. I've had to go through a lot of the things that people take a lot longer to do. And being in that perspective as a young executive, if you will, gives me a hell of a unique perspective on what it means to be able to do that in the first place. Because a lot of what you're told, especially as you're climbing the ranks and climbing the ladder, is you're too young, you don't have the experience, you're not able to do that, you have to do this first and then you can do that. And my gut always told me when I was in the seat that you're sitting in now, why is that? Like, why is it that I can't do those things until I'm X old? I think in my gut I'm good enough to do it. Why are these rules here that tell me that I'm not allowed to? And so this unique perspective, I think, it's one that I'm really coming to terms with now and I'm really shaping, and they finally articulated what I've been feeling for the last 5-6 years that I've been working in this world. And I think it's valuable for people like you, because if I can get you to believe this message, I think it can really change your mindset, your outlook, and how you approach not only business and careers and what you're doing, but really everything in your life. Because for those who know me, Kyle's here, he knows me, these guys know me pretty well. It's really indicative of how I approach everything, not just business, and it bleeds out into everything else that I do. So Let me take a step back and tell you how I even got here in the first place to be 23 in this position. I went to Boston University undergrad, business student. When I was there, I'm sure this is going to resonate with a lot of you, I always had this hunger to be doing more. Like clubs, I want to do it. Sports, give me that. I want to meet the professors, I want to talk to them, I want to go to office hours. I was so hungry, nothing could satiate my desire to have more exposure to business. I just wanted to do more, I wanted more exposure, I wanted to be able to learn more, do more. And quite frankly, all I wanted was to be doing real things. I wanted the stakes to be higher. I wanted to be able to interact with the incredible alumni and professors and really be playing on the biggest level. So I started working on an app. My sophomore year of college, I had no clue what the hell I was doing. But after sophomore year summer, I hustled enough, I worked hard enough. You guys all know what hustle is. I hustled enough that this guy named Michael Loeb offered to give me a meeting, just let me pick his brain. And long story short, the outcome of that meeting was, hey, like, nice try, that's cute, forget that app, just come work for me. Come try this internship program, we're just gonna start it out, you'll be the last edition, we don't really know what it's gonna be, but come intern. And so all of a sudden, I find myself in the realms of Michael Loeb, who's a serial entrepreneur, a legend of the entrepreneurship world, and all of a sudden I'm in his office on Fifth Avenue as an intern. I'm like, what the hell, how did I get here? This is pretty awesome. And so that thing that I wanted to get exposed to, the excellence in business, all of a sudden I found myself there at 19 years old getting direct access to this guy. And so my mindset shifted to, I just want to do anything that I can to add value. Whatever I can do while I'm here, I want to do it. This is such an incredible opportunity for me to learn. So many incredible entrepreneurs, millions of dollars of investment in venture capital and crazy, incredible startups and technology. Everything that I ever wanted to be exposed to was in these four walls of this incredible office, and I happened to be right there in the middle of it, where I belonged there. For the summer, like, I was supposed to be there. And that was new for me, because historically, I was always sort of like sneaking in so that I could shake the person's hand at the end and get a meeting, and all of a sudden there I was, and I was supposed to be there. And so, cut to the chase, over the course of that summer, I just went all in. I grinded anything that I could do for any of the companies, whatever I could do. Nothing scared me away. There was no work that I wasn't willing to take. I wanted to do all of it, right? I wanted every exposure to every person, every meeting. I just wanted all of it. And so, at the end of the summer, I was in love with Loeb. I love Michael, but that's not what I mean. I mean the place. Hopefully Michael doesn't see this and think it's weird. He probably will. Hey, Michael. I was in love with working there. I was so obsessed with the fact that I could be what I thought was a valuable asset. And I was told that people seemed to like me too. And so I came up with this idea. I was like, hey, Michael and Rich, who's Rich's partner and the COO, I said, I'm going to be up in Boston. Why don't you just keep me around and I'll come back every time I'm in the city. I'll come into the office. I'll call in once a week, let you guys know what I'm seeing. If you have anything that I can do while I'm up there, let me do it. Let me source companies. Let me work on some decks. Let me stay involved with the portfolio companies. Like, let me just help. I just want to be involved. I want to do something. Because again, I was so obsessed with what I was around that I didn't want it to end. And so, over the course of that year, when I was a junior in college, I was working for Loeb from college. And so the story goes now, I say I went to BU, all credit to BU, was great, but in reality I went to Loeb University because everything that I was doing when I wasn't in class was for something to do with Loeb and venture capital and helping the portfolio, getting more exposure, doing anything that I could to learn in the real leagues. I just wanted to play in the big leagues. And so, over the course of that next summer, I ended up coming back to Loeb, obviously, you know how the story goes. Since then, I've been involved in a variety of capacities with portfolio companies, helping the investment fund, and just doing whatever I can to be a part of it, right? And so, I look back now and I see where I've come and the position that I'm in now, and really all it is has been proving myself every step of the way. It's not that I feel entitled to any position, it's not that I feel like my diploma or anything got me there, it's that I said, let me in, give me a damn shot, and I'm going to prove that I belong here. That's it. I'm going to be in this spot. If you let me in, you let me here, you let me in, I'm going to prove that I belong here. And I'm going to prove that I can do this. I'm going to prove that I can add value, and whoever my competition is, I'm going to outwork them, and I'm going to be the one that you want to keep around. Not because I want to push them down, but because I just want to be here so badly. I want to be involved so badly. I'm so hungry to do these things that I won't lose. So, here I am, 23. I've got this perspective now. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about how I can articulate it in a way that people are going to remember. And what's the real message of that story, of what my journey has been, what my journey has taught me. And what I've landed on, as cliche as it sounds, please bear with me, it's an analogy. It's this analogy of a rocket ship. So, early stage business and business in general, what you're trying to do is you're trying to take this thing and get it to the freaking moon, right? You're trying to get this rocket ship against all odds, trying to get it to go to the moon. You're trying to get it as high up as it can go and take it really, really fast wherever you can get it, right? That's really what business is at the end of the day. You're here, you want to get here. You've got your CEO or the president or whoever's in charge. They're running the ship, and their job is just to make sure that you're going to true north, right? You're on your way, you're going to true north, and that's where you're going to get it, and nothing's going to stop you. And then you've got the team around them, and in reality, all they're focused on, the only thing that they care about is making sure that that thing is going to the moon. That it's going to true north, and that everything, every ounce of kinetic energy, potential energy on that ship is going north. And on that ship, you've got all these different seats that have different roles. You've got people shoveling coal in, you've got people fixing the control board, you've got people making sure that everything's running on time. There's a million different things to do. But each one of those represents a crucial seat that's goal is to get that thing there. And so when I think about that, what I realize is that if you can sneak on to the rocket ship, sneak on, right? Because at the gate, right there where you can say, how can I get on? Nope, you're too young, you don't have the experience, let me see your resume, where'd you go to school, what'd you do before this, what's your GPA, what was your SAT score, where'd you go to high school, who's your mom, like all that crap. That stops you at the gate. But if you could just be like, nah, sorry, I'm gonna just get on the ship and see you later, thanks, now I'm on it. If you can sneak onto that ship and prove that you know how to drive, whatever seat that you're in, doesn't matter what you're doing. If you can prove that you're in the seat, you snuck into that seat and you know how to drive, you are capable of driving and you're damn good at it, I promise you nobody's going to kick you out. Because at the end of the day, what did I say? Everything that the whole rocket ship is focused on doing is getting it to the moon. And if you have managed to sneak yourself onto that ship and get into a seat where you are playing a role, contributing, and you can prove that you know how to drive, all of a sudden, this is the best kept secret in business, and I mean that. The best kept secret that I prove to myself every single day. If you can sneak into that ship and prove you know how to drive, no one asks you how old you are, no one asks you how much experience you have, no one asks you what you did before this. All that matters is, wow, this person can drive and they're good at it. And that's become sort of my thesis, my framework, my operating system for how I approach everything I do, because everything around us is a set of barriers that in many ways tell us that we just can't get where we want to go until we're X years old. And that's a waiting game. And I don't like to wait. Urgency, I want to go there now. Like, why am I waiting to get onto that ship when I think I'm good enough, when I know I'm good enough? Why do I need to have that extra thing that that guy has? Like, I'm good enough to do that. I belong there. I belong in that seat. And so what I've done is prove that to myself. And I prove that to myself every single day now. And so I really want you guys to sink in and try and think about that message of how do I sneak onto that ship? Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be a business, it doesn't have to be a startup, it can be anything in the world that you want to achieve that represents where you want to go. If you're able to sneak on and prove that you can drive in any context, nothing else matters because you're there, you're doing it. Like you figured it out, right? And so I think about how do you even sneak on in the first place? Like, what are the secrets to being able to do that well, to do that effectively, to get onto the ship and to stay there and prove that you can drive? And how do I make this simple so that people can remember it? And for me, what I've seen, it really comes down to two words that are the secrets to sneaking onto the ship, to staying on the ship. Relationships, execution. Those two words. Tattoo them into your brain. And I'm going to explain. Relationships and execution. Relationships and execution help you stay on the ship. Relationships and execution help you sneak onto the ship. Execution, make sure you stay on the ship. Right? the world, the business world specifically, is run on relationships. Right? How do people get meetings with me? How do people get meetings with Michael? They get on our radars because they executed so well that I had no choice but to pay attention, or there's a relationship, right? Like, how do these things happen in the first place? The reason that I got into Michael Loeb's the first time was because I executed, and I did that app well enough to at least let him give me a shot. 15-minute meeting when I'm a college kid. What did he have to do? College kid? What is he going to do with college for? But I executed, right? And then there was a relationship, and I built an authentic relationship. It was true to who I was, and all of a sudden, like I said, they wanted the internship. Wow, I'm on the rocket ship. I'm here. Like, I snuck past the entrance. I didn't go to Harvard. I snuck past the entrance, right? And then, execution. I'm going to be the one. No one's going to stop me who proves that I belong here. Now that I'm on, no one's kicking me off, at least till the end of the summer. I at least have till the end of the summer to prove that I can execute. And now I have the rest of the school year, and now I have the rest of the thing, and then it was the next company, and now it's 3x3, and whatever comes next, my attitude is always going to be execute. And so the key to building the relationships in the first place really comes down to just being authentic, because in reality, people can sniff BS from a mile away these days. And so if you're true to yourself and you really can display that you're hungry and just be real with people, it's not that hard to build relationships, right? Like, all these guys here, Chris, Ben, Atu, they've all built relationships with me, and I don't think they're full of crap at all. Like, it's genuine relationships that have happened because we've gotten to know each other. Like, it's not impossible to do it. And how do you create continuity and continue to grow and make yourself relevant? It's by executing once you build those relationships. And so, when I think about what I've learned and what I would have wanted to know if I was in your shoes sitting right here, I always have this gut instinctual feel that I could do these things and I was capable and I could go out and grab the world if I really just tried, and not just tried, but that I was able to do it. I believed in my gut that I could do it, but there were all these signs around me that said, yeah, eventually, but it'll take you a while, and don't do it yet, and just like stay in your lane and sit there, and you'll get there maybe one day, like, it's cute, keep trying. But he's like, I had this fire, I had it in my gut. I was like, no, like, I don't want to wait for that. I don't, like, why? And so if there's one thing I can tell to you, you don't have to wait. Relationships and execution, sneak yourself onto the rocket ship, and I promise, if you focus on that, if you focus on adding value once you're there and proving that you belong there, that'll go a long way. And that'll change really everything that you do, because it opens up an entirely new world of possibility if you stop looking at where am I going to be stopped. Lift that off of yourself, off your brain, and say, what can I achieve if I don't think there's anything stopping me? It's up to you. It's pure accountability. Like, if I fail, it's my fault, but I'm going to give it a damn good shot, and I'm going to believe the entire way that I'm capable, because I know that no matter what thing that I'm trying and what business I'm in, whether it's athletic or whether it's personal endeavors, business, that there's nothing that can really stop me, because once I'm there and I prove that I can execute, what's left? It's me. It's me and the goal. On my age, on my resume, none of that matters. So, how are we doing on time? Good?
We got about 25, 30 minutes. Take whatever you want.
I want to do that exercise that we did the last time as well. I think it'd be valuable to think about, you guys are freshmen through seniors, aren't you? Okay. I certainly wanted tactical advice when I was in college of, like, what are the things that I can do now? Like, I know that it's easy to listen to me, so like, yeah, relationships, work hard, all that, but real tactical stuff that you can be doing right now, there's no one size fits all. Like, boiling it down to relationships and execution is the best that I can do, but I do want to get a little more specific to the things that you can be doing while you're in college to get yourself ahead, to try and find those opportunities, try and find the doors that are open on the rocket ship, to continue with the analogy, because they're going to be there. They're definitely going to be there. The internet's an incredible thing. Like, the fact that any of you right now can look, I'll give you my email. You can find my email, you can DM me on Instagram, like, you can get to me 100% and I can help you. Also, anything that you guys want to do in your lives, whether you want to be an investment banker, you want to be an entrepreneur, Like, the people that you look up to and the people that really have rocket ships that are going right now, they're available. Like, they're not hiding. I promise they're not hiding. I'm not hiding. Michael Loeb's not hiding. Rich Vogel, his partner, isn't hiding. Yeah, they're gated with some gatekeepers, but everybody that you want to get to in the world, they can be gotten to. And while you're on campus right now, there's a million things that you can be doing to prove that you can execute. Because if you're going to call me in a year, 6 months, 3 months, you're interviewing for the Loeb Internship Program. You don't know I was at your speech. I really want to intern. Can you help me out? Yeah, sure. Like, tell me, what have you done before? If I see a track record of, I don't care what you've built. I don't care if you sold the company. But if I'm like, damn, you've done all these things in the context of what if you took your club field hockey thing and you grew the budget for this many people. Like, I don't care what it is, but you executed. Like, you took the thing and you moved the ball down the field and you helped that mini rocket ship get where it wanted to go. Like, all those little things to people who really run the world and really know how all this stuff works, that's what matters. Because when the ship gets bigger and the rocket ship gets bigger and you get on to the next one, it's just the same thing. It's just plugging and playing. Like, the things that I was doing when I was in college for Loeb are just slightly smaller versions of what I'm doing now. Like, it's all this, it's pattern recognition and understanding the things that you have to be doing to set yourself apart. But more than set yourself apart is just be true to executing and doing what you are capable of. Let's go to some specific examples. Chris, right now, for 3x3 for the class, you're continuing your relationship with me, right? Can we give an overview of what that is right now? Does everybody in here know what that is?
Probably not.
Okay. You do it. You got the floor.
So, I'm working on a vendor consulting project with another student from UConn that also was part of our internship, helping 3x3 Insights out essentially to kind of build out their content brand and their platform for that. It's called Retail Untapped. And essentially what they do is, so it's, as no one can attest, it's kind of a very complex industry, the alcohol beverage industry, which is kind of what they provide analytics for. And it's a 3-tiered system, basically. Suppliers, distributors, and then retailers. And we're providing content essentially for those retailers so that they can more effectively market their products and provide analytics for their customers. And then build sales promotions and things like that.
Beautiful. Well done. So Chris and Liz come to me at the end of the internship program and say, yo, we've got this idea. We want to stay involved. What can we do? What do you think about this? We're doing this class. We'd love to stay involved. I knew that my context, there was a relationship, and so my default was yes, of course we can stay involved. A, because I love the hustle, and B, because I know them. And so what does that get you? Like, now, rather than Chris having this gap between Loeb 3x3 and him for the entirety of the school year, he has dropped an anchor back into that so that whenever he wants to come to the office, he has a reason to, and he's allowed there whenever he wants. And B, it's not weird for us to be on the phone every week now. Like, we're the 3x3 rocket ship's going, the Loeb rocket ship's going. He has a reason every single week to be on the phone with me, with the CEO. He's got a reason to come into the office, and like, I know that sounds small, but if you think about what he pulled off there, it's that he now kept his foot in the rocket ship while he went back to school, right? And so what did I do when I was in school? I said, I need to keep my foot on that damn little rocket ship. So it's definitely because I believe that I belong. And so now he has kept that relationship going, and over the course of the rest of the semester, if he shows me that he can continue to execute, the opportunities are going to continue to grow. Because if he's helping Retail Untapped grow, he's been doing that all school year, and I see that he's helping the numbers and he's adding value to the business, and every week I'm like, damn, this is really good stuff. I believe in what he's doing and I see the value. Do you think that after 4 months I'm going to be like, yo, you killed it, that was great, but you're only 23. Like, so sorry man, you're to the curb, and I'm going to go replace it? Like, no, I'm going to keep him because he's done the best job, because he's proven that he can belong there. Right? Tell me about what you did with Bonnie. Tell everybody about what you did with Bonnie.
I'll let Ben or Atu.
I actually want Atu to do it, and then I'll jump in.
Cameraman.
So this summer, this summer, Bonin, Chris, and I were approached. Chris, Ben, and I were approached by Bonin and Jeremiah. And Jeremiah wants to put a card game on Amazon because he's like put the card game What You Mean on Amazon before, and he understands how the Amazon search engine optimization works. So he's like, hey, we should make our own card game. We're gonna make it fun, and just like put it and just give us the idea, and like we'll handle like kind of the technical aspects of how the sales work,
Right.
and like it will work. So during the summer, we literally cut up cards on sheets of paper and like taped on the questions. We played the game with the interns. We're like, okay, this works. This is fun. What can we do like after the internship is over to kind of continue making the card game while we're doing cards? So we used a laser cutter at UConn to like make a formal version of the cards on cardstock.
Right.
We tested that a little bit more, and then we're in contact with the manufacturer right now to create 6 prototypes of the game, so we can like do one more test run and hopefully get it on Amazon before Black Friday.
So this is like let's just be really clear. This is a real thing. Like,
Yeah.
So why did you get the opportunity in the first place? Like get specifically, why did Bonnie give you that shot? Like why was it you guys?
Because he knew we were going to execute.
You had a relationship and you knew you were gonna execute.
It all started literally, yeah. It all started this summer, right? So with the internship program, it's like a matchmaking session. So essentially all the interns are put at the Hamptons, like, oh no, at the Hamptons with all these different entrepreneurs and all the other interns, and it's your opportunity to pitch to all the CEOs of all these companies and find your best fit. So it's literally your opportunity to show everything that Noah's been talking about. Show how you've executed at school and how you can bring that into whatever framework of the company that you're trying to get with. So whenever we went there, we really had no idea what to expect. But Bonin did this keynote speech, and Atu, Chris, and I were sitting there like, oh my God.
This
like,
is the guy that we need to
this
get.
is the guy we have to get with.
This is somebody that works like very closely with Michael in terms of like branding and open networking events and those sorts of things.
So we set together like a clear path of a vision of, okay, what do we need to talk about to make sure that we get our foot in the door, to make sure he remembers us, to make sure whenever he picks his interns, we're on the list. And ultimately that culminated into us all getting the internship. We all got to work with Bonin, us and one other intern that went to UNC. And during the first week, Bonin was out doing all these keynote events, and Jeremiah comes in, he's like, all right, what do you guys want to do? Like, we have a week until this officially kicks off.
Bonin's in France.
And Bonin's at Cannes, France.
With
like, yeah, Wyclef Jean's doing like a performance.
That's your first week.
Yeah, that was a good week. So Jeremiah just walks in, who's Bonin's business partner, he's like, you know what, let's make a board game. Can you guys make a board game?
You guys know any fun drinking?
He's literally like with what Atu was saying with what do you mean? He's like, we've done this before, we've sold something on Amazon, and it worked. You guys are young, you know what's cool for games, why don't you make something? I'll leave you in here, like, take the rest of the day, take the rest of the week, let us know if you come up with anything cool. So that first project, our first week, we then worked on as a side project throughout the rest of the summer.
Right.
And then going into the school year, we kept in touch with Bonin, and we're like, all right, we're gonna make this legit. Like, we know we're gonna be able to print this out using the laser cutter on campus. Obviously, it's gonna take a while. There's only 2 laser cutters, there's only 3 of us. It's not exactly feasible, but we managed to make it work. And we told them, okay, any events that you're doing a keynote at, any stages that Loeb's involved with, we want to go there because we're going to have a product in time and we're going to be able to pitch it. So what did we do? He said he was going to the Forbes 30 Under 30 Summit. He said he was going to advertising week. If we wanted to come, we could go. So we busted our asses. We got the prototype done. Chris made the box. Atu and I printed out all the cards, did the testing, and we brought it in this wooden box with 173 tokens, 443 cards, and we're like, hey, we have it, let's pitch it. So we got to network with literally everyone that's under 30, that made the Forbes under 30 list, everyone at Advertising Week. We got feedback from the CMO of Tinder, SVP of VaynerMedia, all these investors that were at Loeb's house because we got invited to dinner because, hey, we were in New York City and we just happened to have this once-a-year investor day. So it's all relationship building and getting that foot in the door. And now we said, okay, whenever we have the next event, like bring a new product, and we're going to try to make some sales. Hopefully we'll be there at that point.
That's like a crazy example because it's a game and it's like way crazy, but it's perfectly indicative of what the hell I'm talking about, which is like how did it all start? Because let's be really honest, the majority of human beings have given that position of you got the internship and your boss's partner came in and said, hey, try this but do whatever you want, I was going to be here. Like 90% of people probably would have just sandbagged and watched Netflix and hung out all day, but I have a gut feeling that most of you here in this room are not that person because you understand that if you want to go big places and you want to go there and win and be above average and not just sandbag it, you got to do things like what they just did. So they were like, wow, we're on the ship. Back to the analogy, we're on the ship, let's execute. And holy crap, you didn't execute, which is just awesome. What I want to do now, I hope people aren't feeling too shy. I know that it's really hard to grasp how this can apply to your individual life. So what we did when I gave the speech to you guys was we did sort of a session where people raise their hand. Let's just do a few of these right now. The idea is that if you're feeling brave enough to, hopefully I'm not that intimidating, if you're feeling brave enough to tell me a little bit about you and what you're focused on right now, or what your aspirations are, or what you'd like to talk about, or what you think the context of how you'd like to start going above and beyond. We can dissect it a little bit and get into some of the things that you can be doing right now to either sneak onto the ship or start to execute or build more relationships or whatever it is in the context of you and UConn right now. There's no volunteers, I'm just going to fall back to these three guys and they'll do it, but is anybody feeling brave enough to take it off? Yo, what's up, bro? What's your name?
Hi, I'm Jack.
Jack? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I'm really interested in starting my own company. One of the things that I'm trying to focus on is virtual reality. I'm trying to develop a different kind of headset for that, so that's where a lot of my free time is going.
Okay. So, just so we're clear here, your interest, your North Star is you want to be involved, you either want to start a company or like help start a company or help drive a company that's in the VR space to
Yes.
the moon, right?
Yep.
And right now you've got experience in VR in some context.
Yeah.
Are you an engineer?
I'm a business student.
Okay.
CS
But
minor.
you understand the space really well.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's undoubtedly you have value to add to somebody. So what I would do, have you spoken to anybody in the industry right now? Have you made calls?
I've talked to some professors and some people out in California.
Right.
Who I'm connected with.
My gut would say you have a clear focus and skill set and interest and passion in a space that is big enough that there's definitely going to be people working on it, but niche enough that it matters and there's still like some opportunity there. I would find companies that are somewhere between 0 and like 3 to 5 on the scaling up stage and go right to the executive office and be like, yo bro, here's my deal, how can I help you? You know what I mean? One of my best friends started a VR for their therapeutic VR company. So basically for pre-surgery practice, you put a VR headset on to get you prepped. It's super, super cool. If you come find me after, I'll try and introduce you to him. But like, if you talk to Tim, he's probably at like 2 to 3 on the growth stage, and you're like, hey, I'll work for you for free. Like, just get on the phone with me because again, I just want to talk to you. Get on the phone with me. Tell me about your experience. What's going on? Like, hey Tim, or anybody you talk to, lay out your challenges. Like, what's going on in your business right now? Right? You're having trouble getting into hospitals and this thing. Oh no way, my grandma is in this hospital, or my aunt works in this hospital. Maybe I can make an introduction. Or yo, what if I could solve your problems this way? Like, if he tells you that he's got these 3 problems, if he's an entrepreneur, he's probably constrained for capital, or he has too much capital, he's trying to figure out how to use it. I guarantee you, on that rocket ship or whatever other rocket ship you're going to find, there is a role to be made. And even if you may have too much stuff going on, you can't like do 10 hours a week, even if you start of just like, hey, can we get on the phone and I can tell you my ideas and tell me about yours, people like appreciate that. Like, that means something. And so even if it's just one call, and you meet this guy Tim, or you meet some other entrepreneur in the VR space, or you talk to a venture capital firm focused on VR, you could say, hey, I just want to talk. You've dropped an anchor, and you can go back to that anchor in 6 months when maybe you got your first prototype, right? And even if your prototype sucks, they're going to know that you executed for 6 months, and that's going to mean something because you followed through on that work, right? Or you can go to a VR firm that's focused on, or a venture capital firm focused on VR, and be like, hey, would it be okay if I helped you guys out by scouting all the VR technology happening on campuses in the Northeast region? If I'd be like, yeah, that's sweet, that sounds cool, I want to know about that. And then all of a sudden you've got that, you know what I mean? Like, you dropped your anchor.
Yeah.
Is that helpful?
That's very helpful.
Cool. Anybody else?
One thing I just want you to clarify quick.
Yes.
You talked a lot about how you executed with the app, and that was how you got on like the little radar.
Yeah.
Maybe just clarify a little bit what exactly, at what point Loeb heard about you and how you got that initial meeting. Did you target him? Was it something like in the press that Michael heard? Like, what was it exactly?
Here's the honest version of the story, and this is a little bit crazy. I don't know if I've told this in front of an audience before. I was in sophomore year I was like the business side of it with an engineer from engineering school. And we didn't know what the hell to do with it. We had users on campus and we were like, we should expand to other schools. And so I was like, all right, let's expand to other schools and just like hustle. I figured out a way to create a roadshow in California where I put the deck together and got in front of the executive teams for the relevant part of the school in California, and we went school to school to school. That was enough to get me invited to this entrepreneurial boot camp that Michael sponsored. So I was invited as like the youngest entrepreneur there for working on this thing. I was like, this thing is cool, man. Like, forget the app. These guys are working on some real stuff. I'm like 21. I'm 21. These guys are building like VR stuff and crypto and AI for healthcare. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. But I looked up this guy, Michael Loeb, and I was like, wow, he's doing some really cool stuff. I want to meet that guy. And so the reality is I made sure, damn sure that I met Michael at the cocktail party at his house that night. They dropped an anchor of like, hey, remember me. Emailed him a couple weeks later. He did remember me. The app was going through trouble. It was inevitable that it was going to shut down. The guys wanted to go a different direction than me. I got pushed out of the company. So it goes, not the end of the world. And at around the same time that that was happening, Michael responded to my email and said, hey, let's set up a 15-minute meeting. Just come by the office. I was like, boom, there we go, I'm in. And literally hired me on the spot. This is before there was an internship program and we had structure for this type of stuff, but more or less hired me on the spot. And I was like the last addition to the internship program that didn't exist until it was that year. So that's sort of, anyway, someone else raised their hand. Yo, what's your name?
I'm Akash.
Akash?
Akash.
Akash,
Yeah.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And so I'm like, my background's mostly in the software space, computer science. But my dream is to more build a company in the tech industry. So right now I've been trying to immerse myself more in like the entrepreneurship, startup and business side to learn more about that. Well, also in the software side, I'm trying to to try out a lot of new things to see what I truly care about, so I can combine the two and go find direction to go in.
Okay, so your goal would be, you're an engineer at heart, right? Like, is that what you love?
Yeah.
So your goal would be to get more exposure to the business side for the end goal. Look, the reality is if you're involved, if you have any part of your brain that works in business and you can get involved in a startup that's run by the right type of CEO, you're going to learn that stuff, right? Because in early stage companies, everybody has to wear at least some extent different hats. So I would say, I don't know what your background is and what sort of language you know and all that, but your skill set's undoubtedly valuable to somebody. I would say, again, pick companies that are at the right stage in their growth that are interesting, and just get on the radar of people running them, and be like, hey, can I help you out? Do you have any code that needs fixing? I'll QA your code, or you have an extra feature that you want to build, or go to them and say, hey, I checked out your app. I've got these features in mind. I actually spec'd out what it would take to build them. Is it cool if I work on it? Like, any CEO with half the brains at least going to let you try. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you're in and you've got context. Like, I would say just get yourself attached to or involved in a company that's growing. Because there's nothing that you can do to prepare you. Like, no textbook is going to teach you how to build a company. Like, you have to just live with it a little bit. You have to have the foundation of knowing it, which is why you guys are all here, which is awesome. But you really learn a lot by being in the weeds and in the trenches of actually doing it. And there's no better place to learn than from a great mentor and great leaders, right? Like the way that I learned the majority of my stuff is through mentorship and really being in the weeds and actually doing it. That's why I say I went to Loeb University, because like the amount of things that I learned from working on real stuff when I was in school, it's not even in the same stratosphere as what I learned in the classroom. Like, I learned so much more doing real stuff than I did actually like reading the textbooks. As much as the textbooks are awesome and I needed to do it and B was incredible, like the real meat of how has come from just like, I'm just gonna do this and figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, again, let me in, I'm gonna figure it out. So that would be, like, we can talk more about that, but that would be my thought.
Thank you.
So,
How's it going? Caleb.
all right.
Thank you for coming. So I'm currently a senior, seeking out opportunities for next year. My concern isn't necessarily getting a job because I'm confident I can find something. My concern is finding one that I want to be at. And I think you've hit on it a few times. It's like finding companies that we should contact. How do you recommend finding like a rocket ship you want to be on?
That's a great question. I think for the first one, there's something to be said. I think you have to weigh two things. One is like, do I care so much about the mission of what the company is doing? And the other one is like, what am I going to be doing and who am I going to be doing with it, right? Like for me, one of the things that I've really learned for myself is that right now, 23, it matters a lot more to me to be actually moving the needle, like actually impacting the business and working with people that I like, than working on a business that the mission is so important. Like I haven't even developed fully as a human yet. Like I don't know what that's gonna look like. Like what I cared most about a year and a half ago is different than what it is now. But the core pillars of like, I just wanna take over everything and like own it all and like go and ambition stay the same. And so I would recommend, if you have an ounce of that same DNA, I would recommend, yeah, it seems like you do, I would recommend look for people that your gut tells you, I'm going to learn from that person and they're going to give me the shot. Because like at the end of the day, you could go work for a company that makes the thing that you care the most about, but if you're nested 40 layers below the CEO and you're not doing anything that moves the business every day, you're going to be like, but if you're working on a company where like the mission's cool and you believe in it, but it's a real business and it's growing and you believe in the CEO or you believe in your manager and you're getting mentorship and you're getting to impact the business, that's where you're going to learn. Like, find somebody who's willing to throw you into the deep end and throw you a life raft and like help you swim versus someone who's going to like give you all the floaties and be like, well, now you can't even do anything. You know what I mean? Like that you'll always have so much time to go do the thing that feels the most meaningful. Like, go take over the world and then start a charity when the mission matters the most. Like right now, focus on where your execution will net results in learning and around people that you like. Like 3x3 and Loeb are the greatest things in the world because the people that I work with are like family and friends, you know what I mean? So like entrepreneurship and startups and venture capital is like this. And so when it's great, it's incredible. And when it's down, it's not that bad because it's like, A, you keep your perspective and B, you're around people that you care about and that you like really vibe with. And that's the game. Like that's it right there, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, last semester, a professor told me, don't chase jobs, chase people. I think you just reiterated that.
Yep.
And I had a question. You mentioned like reach out to companies that are in the 2 or 3 growth stage. What did you mean by that?
Take that with a grain of salt because people are going to define the 2 or 3 growth stage differently. I just mean that find companies, like, go back to the rocket ship analogy. Like, if the thing has already exited the stratosphere and it's like humming along, then you go into stability mode and like stay in your lane. Like, as companies grow and become more developed and reach their stride, and the engine, all the engines are running properly, it becomes about keeping it like this versus going like that. And so venture capital, what Loeb is interested in, what Michael's interested in, what I'm interested in, what Rich's partner who actually went to UConn is interested in, is like, how do you make it go like that? And so my point is that in that trajectory of a rocket ship, when you're trying to go like that, it matters a lot more that people are just executing, period. Like, once the structures start to get put in place and the thing has already been built, then it's like, the rocket ship's already like, it's already taken off to an extent. Like, you can definitely add value and find your way in there.
I was just curious, like, where you got those numbers. Is that like 2 or 3 out of 10? Or like...
Yeah, sorry, 2 or 3 out of 10. That's what I meant. That was the clip. But like, in all seriousness, forget that. Just think about where can I actually have an impact? You can have an impact when they're already to the moon, but like, IBM was a rocket ship once too, and I'm not going to encourage you to go sneak onto that unless it's their Watson division where it's a mini rocket ship.
The other question I had is, like, it seems like you're very ambitious and like you probably work like a lot because it's what entrepreneurs do. Like, do you find that taking periodic breaks like helps, or do you just work all the time?
No, love that question. I think for me, balance is super important, and so I do work a lot. There's a lot of different projects going on, many of which, like, I'm involved in a lot of stuff at Loeb, some things outside 3x3. And after that, like, I just did a half Ironman, and that took up a lot of training time. So for me, it's about finding the things that recharge up here, right? Because as much as, like, I love business, and so I get energy from that, but at the same time, it is draining. Like, I'm a human being, so conference calls all day and writing and contracts and all that stuff that goes along with executing and running a business and helping run a business can be draining. And as much as I love working out, like, sometimes I don't want to go lift weights either, you know what I mean? And so when I hit that wall, sometimes you literally just need to chill out and do whatever it is that's gonna, for me, the reality of what I get fuel from maps to me working more, because that's just what excites me. Like, in college it was the same thing. Like, I genuinely wanted to go, like, if I didn't have something to work on, I wanted to go, like, watch videos about people running businesses, or, like, go read books, or, like, that's what I wanted to do. And I always thought that was weird. Now I'm encouraging you, don't think that's weird at school. But for me right now, I do take breaks, I do have balance, but it's definitely a little bit crazy, and I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of the social stuff now. But any of my friends who know me, like, I definitely still have a social life, and I keep that part up. It's just that I choose to forego things that other people might find necessary that just don't add any value. Like, I hate happy hour more than anything in the world. Like, people in New York City, like, love going to happy hour and cutting out right at 5 and going, and I just hate that. I'm like, no, I'm gonna stay because I have other stuff to do today, and I just don't want to do that B. And so that's an example of, like, those hours from 5 to 8 or 5 to 9, where others are like, I just want to watch Netflix. I'm like, I'd actually rather be working on 3x3 or working on another thing, or, like, doing some other stuff, or, like, going on a training run, like, those types of things. Those fuel me. But I think the overlying, most important message is figure out what gives you fuel and listen to that. Like, it took me a year after school to figure out and start listening to what gives you fuel. Pay attention and be honest with yourself now about what those things are. And, like, be okay with it, you know? Like, don't think it's weird if you would rather be home watching YouTube business videos about business or reading books versus, like, doing something else that is you're supposed to be doing, because you'll see how it plays out in the end. You know what I mean? Like, don't think that's weird.
All right, thanks for sharing.
Cool.
Yeah, my name's Casey. You kind of answered it a little bit with that. But I was going to say, I think Warren Buffett spends like 8 hours of his day just reading.
I don't know if I buy that.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. It was like LinkedIn on the cover. But
that feels like an Instagram meme type of statistic that, like, you don't know if you should trust.
But long story short, it's like, yeah, also like recharging. But how often and how many different revenue or avenues do you learn? Like, how often do you read a week?
Yeah.
How many different media outlets do you learn from? Like things like that.
It ebbs and flows. Right now, I'm in execution mode. So, like, I'm reading. I just read Ray Dalio's Principles book. That's awesome. If you haven't read it yet. I just finished Homo Deus, but, like, I don't read for 8 hours a day. Like, that's just
Yeah. Like, I follow him on Instagram, so I'll get like the gist of his principles.
The Dalio book.
Yeah.
Read it.
Okay.
Forget the Instagram. I mean, the Instagram's great. But
Yeah.
Great. I'm trying to think about how to answer this. I'm fortunate enough, and actually you'll all be fortunate enough, if you work in a place that values contribution and is a meritocracy, you're going to learn just by doing. So, like, I learn stuff every single day in business just by helping run the business and by being exposed to these things. And again, I think a lot of people have this imposter syndrome fear that, like, I haven't done this before, so I can't do it right now. And I've always been like, I'll figure it out. Like, I can mark up this contract, you know what I mean? And, like, so the other day, for the first time ever, without even realizing it, I had to, like, write up a full legal contract that was going to go to the lawyers for a new business vertical we were launching. And I wrote it and sent it, and we made a couple edits, and I was like, I don't think I took a class on how to write a contract. I just, like, wrote a contract, you know what I mean? And so I learned how to do that by doing it, and by sitting in meetings where you pay attention, and financial modeling. Like, that was something that I worked on in school, but I got good at it just by being exposed to people who were good at it. So the short answer is I learn all the time just by doing. In terms of, like, tertiary educational things that I'm doing, I like watching certain YouTube videos that I think, like, you can learn from. I definitely read. There's a certain amount of email publications I read every day. I just want to know what's going on to an extent, but there's a certain point at which all the news in the world can become noise. So I try to balance it, and, like, I want to know what's going on. I want to know the big deals in technology and venture capital and what's happening in the world, but I don't want to let that become everything, because, like, I can talk about that all day, but if the rest
you have to execute.
Yeah, you have to execute. So it's both. Like, right now, though, you guys have the luxury of you're on the hook to do your homework and to do things like that, but you have all this time. Like, I read so many books. Like, my whole bookshelf is, like, business books when I was in college, because, like, I just want to learn. You know what I mean? Like, read the books, watch the YouTube videos and people, and, like, pay attention. You should be. Like, you have the luxury of time right now. Do that. And you'll also learn by doing. Is that helpful?
Yeah, no, that was really helpful. All right, yeah, thank you.
Other questions? Thanks.
My name's Molly. At what point do you get over that imposter syndrome? Is it when you like move the needle and execute, or is it when you kind of have that social acceptance through relationships, or is it something else?
I think imposter syndrome is a weird thing. I hear people, the short answer is that I don't think that it ever entirely goes away. Like, I still have a little bit of it sometimes, but I've done this enough times and I've lived through this enough that I think I just believe in myself and what I'm talking about enough to but I think you can always frame it in a way that's going to make you feel like that, but it's just about trusting that you're being yourself and being authentic. Like, there's a funny interview with Tom Hanks of all people where he's like, I feel like one day I'm going to wake up and someone's going to be like, yeah, that was all fake. Like, you're not actually an actor, and it's all, and he's like, Tom Hanks, the legendary actor, feels like a freaking imposter sometimes. So it gets better as you, again, like once you're there, once you've been validated as like you did a thing, it was valuable, and like those little wins feel nice for the validation. But I would encourage to try and put blinders on a little bit. Like, try and focus on trusting this is where I want to go. Stop worrying about what people around you are thinking that they're going to say. No one really cares that much. Like, if people are talking about you behind your back that much, they're probably not worth listening to. That's one thing I've learned. Like, I used to care about that a lot, and I've just gotten real good at like, look, I'm going to go where I'm going to go. If you think that sucks, then see you at the finish line. Like, sorry. You know what I mean? Like, if you can get into that framework of thinking, the rest of it starts to fade away. So don't be mad at yourself if you have some imposter syndrome, but don't let it cripple you. Definitely don't let it cripple you. Anyone else? No?
If you have any other questions, you can always ask Noah at the end as well. He'll be around until at least 8:30.
Cool. My email is noah@loeb.nyc. Hit me up. I'm on Instagram. I haven't been posting much of like this type of stuff, but I have a lot of people telling me that I should start posting this type of stuff. So if you follow me on Instagram @NoahSFreidman and DM me, if I don't respond to your email, you can DM me and I'll respond there. I'm going to try and post this talk on my Instagram. Kyle edits it. That's all I've got. Yeah, hit me up. And the Loeb Internship Program is getting increasingly competitive and hard to get to every single year. Take it from me and take it from these guys. You should do yourselves a favor and apply to it because it's freaking awesome. And it's getting better every single year. And I had to create the opportunities for myself, and the Loeb Internship Program in many ways are being handed on a silver platter. So I would certainly encourage you if you are I think it's a junior this year.
Juniors this year only.
Juniors this year only. If you're a junior, apply. If you're a freshman or a sophomore.
Any sort of major?
So yes, but I'm telling people no, because we got great students in
Yeah.
all kinds of majors. So we had this talk with a couple engineering students before this. So I was just like, fuck it, apply. Like Akash, you asked that question, right? Like it was just like, whatever, dude. You'll work on whatever.
There's one thing that I preach and believe in, it's meritocracy, and I think that your major matters. I think your major matters, but for the purposes of the Loeb Internship Program, I could not agree more. It doesn't matter.
So I'll tell you a funny story for all of you to validate some of the things he's saying. Our first meeting with with Rich was like, oh, so hey, he takes you to the core club and you're sitting there and it's like, so again, if you've been to the core club, it's pretty intimidating no matter who you are, right? Like, and he's like, I'm gonna have this girl email you, and you can have your students apply, maybe they'll get it. And Rich is UConn alum, right? And I'm like, no, they'll get it. Like, oh well, I'm like, no, they'll get it. Like, and like, then I just stayed on right? Like, I mean, and there were times where it almost fell through, and then towards the end, we ended up with huge legal things on how to do it. But I mean, I think they chose to interview 8 people. 4 people got offers from UConn, right?
I think UConn was by far the biggest employment.
I think UConn in Chicago.
And Rich went to UConn and Michael went to Amherst.
Yeah. So it was just, but Rich was just like, yeah, you might be able to get it, right?
Yeah.
And then the next time we're talking, he's like, he's like, yeah, all right, so, you know, what else can we do with UConn? Right? Like, I'm thinking, like, you know, maybe we can do something. And then the next time we're talking, it's like, oh, are you coming to Southampton? You know, and I'm like, oh, so, you know, I think we're gonna obviously come back next year. Like, you know, but I mean, it almost fell apart at times, and like some of the times you had to be like pushing. If someone, and they don't have to be named, if someone didn't care enough at UConn to get on the phone and blast the general counsel, like it never gets done.
Yeah.
And like someone had to convince that person that it was important enough of a deal to do that.
Yeah.
And like those things happen, and it wasn't easy. And then Spencer's up there, he went to IBM this summer, which was a totally different thing than IBM. And he comes and he's like, well, they don't take undergrads. They don't pay, right? They didn't pay you? No.
What? Really?
They don't, because they don't take undergrads. So, like, and they're doing Nobel Prize level research.
Yeah.
And it was it's their, I think it's their last research lab left on Earth. But, you know, I mean, it was a thing, like, he shows up with a piece of paper, like, I want to go do this.
Yeah.
How do I do, like, okay, well, let's find a way to make it happen, right? And that's sort of what we're here for as well. Like, so we get someone like this, someone here, and you know, he would die if all of you emailed him. All of you won't email him, only a handful will. I guarantee it. And that's the only way you can help those people. I guarantee it'll be like 3 or 4, maybe at the most.
Yeah, it's just the truth. Yes, like it happens in every single context. Like you're always worried, well, I want to do this thing and I want to work harder than everyone else, but like everyone else is going to do it. No, they aren't. Trust me, they aren't. Like it's not most people are not willing to do it. Like I said, the 90% of people in their situation with the card game would have said, great, let's kick our feet up and watch Netflix. Take our however many dollars an hour for the summer and call it a day and it'll be great. But like look where you guys are now, look what the workout, like hard work pays off and trust that 100%. How are we doing on time? Are we wrapping?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions before we cut this off? No? Thank you guys. This was awesome.